ॐ शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Okay, now we are meeting after a gap of 2 weeks almost. So let us start. I think we were looking at Matsya Purana, so let us continue. About half of Matsya Purana we have seen, wherein if you remember in the previous session we had stopped at looking at the various duties or how the 4 yugas have been described, starting from Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga and finally Kali Yuga. So with that let us continue, and then if you remember we also saw the description of all the Puranas that has been mentioned in the Matsya Purana. So with this we will continue today. We will continue looking at Matsya Purana. So now in the Dwapara Yuga we come to know Satya Yuga, everything was good. Treta Yuga also everything was good. We had Rama Raja and Treta Yuga. Rama was ruling, so all the people followed their duties, they did all their responsibilities, they were engaged in doing all their work properly, carrying out their responsibilities properly. So that itself led to everything good. So the base what we get to learn from this is that if we keep doing our duties properly, there is nothing to worry at all. The problems arise when a person does not do his duties or does not do his own work properly. That's when problems arise in the society, one's own personal life or wherever it is. So the importance of following one's own duties is very, very important. This is what Ramarajya or Treta Yuga tries to tell. Further, we see that in Dwapara Yuga, during the beginning of Dwapara Yuga, what happens is that slowly evil starts building up, and that's when Krishna had to incarnate. So in Dwapara Yuga, we see that slowly a lot of demons start coming in, and then through Krishna's incarnation, he had killed many demons, but slowly there were also good practices that were being done. That is when towards the end of the Kali Yuga, towards the end of the Dwapara Yuga, Vedavyasa came there. He decided to divide the 4 Vedas, and because he felt that the people out there are not studying the Vedas properly, knowledge is important. So in the Dwapara Yuga, even though evil had started building up, still people were learning the Vedas. So Vedavyasa had a very important role to play here. Finally, we have a lot of predictions with regards to Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga, now with regards to the Kali Yuga, everything is just future that has been mentioned. So roughly if you consider the time period of the Puranas, it would be around the Dwapara Yuga also. So Kali Yuga in most of the Puranas, or you can say in all the Puranas, it is future that is there. No Purana will mention about Kali Yuga that it has already taken place, because currently we are in the Kali Yuga. So it is said that Kali Yuga is the worst of the 4 yugas because a lot of evil things happen, but that is because in the Kali Yuga mainly people do not follow their duties properly, and when a person does not do his work properly, that is the main, as I told you, that's the main place where people go wrong and a lot of issues and problems come in. But finally, of course, we have the Kali Yuga wherein good things are also being done, as we have the Srimad Bhagavatam telling Sankirtanam yasya sarva papa pranashanam, chanting the names of the Lord itself gives moksha. So though the Kali Yuga is the worst of the 4 yugas, you chant the name even once, or as we saw previously also in the Vishnu Purana, unknowingly also or unconsciously also, if you call out, if you name your children through names of the Lord, that also if you unconsciously call out, that also is considered as bhakti in the Kali Yuga. So with this topic ends the rules of the 4 yugas, the rules of the 4 yugas that have been mentioned in the Matsya Purana. Later, now few stories have been told. Comes the most important story of Vajranaga. Now who was Vajranaga? Now Indra, now Kashyapa, sage Kashyapa had 2 wives, Diti and Aditi. Aditi's sons are all the gods, Diti's sons are all the Daityas, Danavas, Rakshasas. So all demons were the son of Diti, all gods were the son of Aditi. So Indra was the son of Aditi. So Diti, she was a stepmother of Indra, and she always had an enmity towards Indra, because she wanted her, as we know, gods and demons have an enmity towards each other. So she always wanted her sons to be, one of her sons to be the king, a demon to rule over the world. But then Indra was made the king of gods. So every time it happened that she wanted to obtain a son through which Indra, who can kill Indra. So that was what she wanted. But then, so she prayed to Kashyapa, and then Kashyapa said that you do a lot of tapas so that you get a son who can kill Indra. So that is when a very powerful demon called Vajranga, his name was Vajranga, not Vajranaga. In some references it will be Vajranaga, but in some references it is Vajranga. So you can note down both. Vajranaga is more correct. Now Vajranaga, and the Puranas, as I told you, sometimes these names do differ. So therefore you can note down both. Vajranaga we will consider. So when Vajranaga, he grew up, Diti told that you have to kill Indra. That is the only purpose why you have been born. And he tries to obey the instructions given by his mother. He finally meets Brahma and Vishwakarma one day. Vishwakarma, creator of the universe. Brahma, creator of the world. Vishwakarma, architect of the gods. So both of them, they come and they tell that don't kill Indra. If you kill Indra, he is a king of all the gods. If you kill him, it's going to create havoc everywhere. Now Vajranaga, though he wanted to obey the instructions of his mother, at the same time he knew that Brahma and Vishwakarma are gods, or they are someone who have to be respected. So he listened to them and he said that I have only one intention. I am doing all this. No, I don't have to. I don't have any selfish intention here. I'm just obeying my mother's orders. That's it. So then, for that, Brahma said that. So that is the reason why Vajranaga. Now, what he had done before this is that Vajranaga had bought Indra and kept him at his house before killing him. So somehow he had caught Indra and kept him for Diti's satisfaction. So Brahma and Vishwakarma tell that you need not have to kill him at all. You already kept him in your house. So that itself shows disrespect. And it is said that in the Matsya Purana it is given that if someone is insulted, that is like death for them, especially kings or people on a higher position, especially seniors also. If you see, or anyone, even us also, or normal people, someone insults us, we feel very bad, right? Or that is as if someone has come and killed. So physically also nobody need not attack you, but if someone tells us something also, we feel very bad. So that itself is enough. So Brahma and Vishwakarma, Kashyapa was also there. They say that you don't do this. So Kashyapa was the father of Vajranaga too. He had to obey his father's instructions. Therefore he said that okay, I will not kill Indra. So like this, the story ends here. But then now Indra, as we know in all our other stories, he is also a man who will not give up easily. So what he does is that after some time he is free. So what year it so happened that Indra, he tries to go and tease this Vajranaga. Now how does he tease? Now Vajranaga, after doing all this, he goes to the forest and meditates for a few years, and there he marries a woman called Varangi, you can call anything. And while he was doing tapas, while Vajranaga was doing a lot of tapas, at that time this Varangi, Indra comes and tries to misbehave with Varangi. Now Indra is a person who is known for doing all this. For example, even in the Ramayana also we have, when Gautama was away, he comes and tries to misbehave with Ahalya, Gautama's wife. So it's not that he does it out of maybe he wants to do it and with that intention, but he is always afraid that his position will go away. So if he sees someone growing stronger, and that is the time when he comes and tries to put that person down. So now this Vajranaga gets very angry. He said that now I'm not going to spare Indra at all. One chance I gave him by listening to my father and Brahma. So now what he does is, again he does tapas and he begets a son called Taraka. And further we know the Tarakasura, he is killed by Shanmuga or Kartikeya. That's how Kartikeya was born. So mainly why this incident of Vajranaga has to be told is that to tell the story of Tarakasura and also the birth of Kartikeya, Lord Muruga. So that also has been mentioned in the Matsya Purana. Now further we see that a conversation between Shiva and Parvati. That's where Shiva calls Parvati Kali. Now Kali in Hindi, it means black or dark complexion. Parvati feels very insulted. She tells, how dare you call me Kali? But then with this, what she does is that though she feels disturbed, she does one thing, is that she does tapas. She does tapas for 1,000 years so that she can turn fair complexion and beget Shiva as her husband. And that's when she turned Gauri. In Hindi we call Gauri, right? Gauri means white or fair. So that's how Kali turned Gauri. So we have goddess Kali we worship, goddess Gauri we worship, and later the story comes in wherein Shiva marries Gauri. Even today we celebrate Gauri Kalyanam. Just last Wednesday, on the day of Panguni Uttaram, we celebrate Gauri Kalyanam all over India. Especially it is famous in Tamil Nadu, wherein goddess Parvati in the form of Gauri marries Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva had very playfully told Parvati Kali. He did not mean that he had just called out of love and affection, not as if to call her as dark complexion or black. But then Parvati took it that way and she did a lot of penance. And here is where it is said that she ate only one leaf. Whatever she. Now, for this, there are two references. One, as per the Matsya Purana, it is mentioned that Parvati did tapas by eating just one leaf one day. That's the reason why another name for the goddess is Aparna. Aparna. Parana is one leaf. Aparna actually is without a leaf. But as per the Matsya Purana, it is mentioned that Parvati consumed one leaf one day, and that's how she survived and did tapas. But as per Kumara Sambhavam, written by Kalidasa, this is just extra reference. I have come across that, so I am giving you that reference. In that, it is mentioned that Parvati, she did such tapas, or you can say ghora tapas as we call, that whatever she was now, tapas was done in Himalayas, in Kailasa. So we know the climatic conditions there. But in spite of all that, she even forgot what she was wearing around her waist. And it is said that she had just worn clothes. Now we see people doing sages or sattvic women, men. Their clothes are very, very simple. So it is said that she did not have even a leaf over her body. That's the reason why Aparna. That's why many ladies are named as Aparna today. So Aparna literally means one who did not have even a leaf over her body. Now, does this mean that Parvati Devi was naked, or as per our tradition, it is said that we should never be naked? Even while taking a bath, also as per our scriptures, it is said that we must tie at least a cloth also. That's the reason why many people, they carry a towel, right? Or even when you take a dip in the rivers, be it holy rivers also, we must never remove all our clothes. It is said that even at home also, when we take a bath, at that time also, all the clothes should not be removed. This is an insult that we do to the Varuna Bhagavan, that is there. Even water also we consider as God. All such things, some people will like it, some people will not like it. Now what, even I should not take a bath also, we argue over that. But then, because in Indian tradition, Indian culture, we have such a beautiful belief to think everything as God. Even in water also we see God, a divine element. So that is the reason it is said that even while bathing also, at least one piece of cloth should be there. So these are all different traditions and beliefs that are followed. So here, then how come Parvati, you say that she is Aparna, she did not have even a leaf over her body? The interpreted meaning, when you read between the lines in the Kumara Sambhavam written by Kalidasa, he mentions that why Aparna? That is because in her tapas, she did not realize anything. What were the clothes in her body, whether she felt hungry, thirsty, nothing. So such was the amount of ghora tapas, or you can say very difficult tapas that she was undergoing, and that is the incident wherein she got this name of Aparna. So references, there are two references to this. Aparna literally means one without a leaf. And as per the Matsya Purana, it is said that Parvati Devi consumed only on one leaf per day. So that is also one reason why she got the name Aparna. Like this, there are many stories that go about. At least once in a lifetime, you must read this Kumara Sambhavam written by Kalidasa. Very, very beautiful story. Very, very beautiful drama. Actually, it is to some extent fictional. We cannot consider it truthfully. But then the way he portrays the description, it starts between we can say the love story between Parvati and Lord Shiva. How Parvati does lot of tapas to get Lord Shiva as her husband. Slowly how they live happily in Kailasa, and finally towards the end of Kumara Sambhavam, that is towards the end of the drama, really Kumara Sambhavaha. Kumaraha Sambhavitaha or Sambhavitaha. Meaning Kumaraha, another name for Lord Kartikeya, how he was born. Kumara Sambhava. So this is how Kumara was born. A very beautiful story. If you see the subject matter of the drama, love story, or you can say how Shiva and Parvati got married eventually, and towards the end how Kartikeya was born. This is only the subject matter. But the description of the Himalayas, description of Kailasa, description of the tapas of Parvati, and in between also Shiva there assumes a form of a normal sage. He comes and he tries to test Parvati. Why do you want a person who lives in a smashana? Why do you want a person who is wearing Gajavastram? That is just an elephant cloth, very, very dirty to look at. One having a skeleton garland, skull garland all over his head. One having Jatadhari. If you look at if we have a man, someone tells us you have to marry a man like Lord Shiva, will we ever go and marry? Shiva himself come, that is fine. But dirty to look at, not at all pleasing. One who lives in a smashana, applies bhasma of dead bodies all over his body. Why do you want to marry such a person? So the conversation between Shiva and Parvati, very, very beautiful text, Kumara Sambhavam. If you want, just make a note of it. It's not related to our topic, but here the mention of Aparna came, so I share. So very beautiful text. So Kalidasa, any of Kalidasa's dramas, if you read, they are not 100% true. But the way he has used his words, the description, we go to Kailasa. or even the Meghadutam text if you read, Meghadutam is again a love story between a Yaksha demigods and his wife. They are a newly married couple who are just recently separated from each other. So the sorrow, or when he's the Yaksha, when he's kept apart from his wife, the separation that he describes that. And in that separation he considers a cloud in the sky to be his messenger. All this is imagination. Where all the cloud travels, it starts from Ramtek in Nagpur, Maharashtra, how it goes about to Ujjain, Orissa and so on. All these places are really depicted even today. People who do research, they go even today, and they have actually seen, just 3-4 years back also, some people, to find out whether Kalidasa, whatever he has mentioned, is really true. Even till date, all the geographical aspects that Kalidasa has mentioned in Meghadutam, that is true. All those places are really there. So from this we know that Kalidasa has been a great scholar even of geography. He would have surely studied geography, only then he can write something like this. So though it is a love story, it's not just mere imagination. There is a lot of study that goes behind writing all these texts. So again, coming back to Puranas, the point I'm trying to share is, in Sanskrit literature, be it fiction, imagination or true, whatever it is, a lot of efforts have been put in right now. For all the, not only Sanskrit literature, any literature you take, the author puts in a lot of efforts. But in Sanskrit literature, the beauty is we also travel along with them, and you can never feel that it is fiction at all, especially the works of Kalidasa. Okay, so this is how Kali and Gauri, the instance of the goddesses named Kali and Gauri, has been mentioned in the Matsya Purana. Further, we have the story of Narasimhavatara also mentioned here because of the relationship of Diti. Hiranyakashipu was also born to Diti. Diti is a mother of Asuras, so Hiranyakashipu was also born to her. So a little story of Narasimhavatara also has been mentioned here, not in detail much, just a bit that is there. Then some information about several Tirtha Kshetras, that is pilgrimage sites, has been mentioned, like Kashi and Varanasi, the same, Kashi or Varanasi. So some information, just geographical information, where it is located, what is the speciality of that place, just some reference to Tirtha Kshetras has been mentioned. Then we have the lineage of sages, Bhrigu, Angirasa, Atri, Vishwamitra, Kashyapa, Vasishta, Parashara, all this has been mentioned to some extent. Further, we see that the Matsya Purana also talks about duties of kings who live. So this will not maybe make much sense to us today, but it also talks about the duties of kings, what a king should do, how he must take care of his kingdom, the administration part and all that, how his subjects need to be protected properly. All this also has been mentioned in the Matsya Purana. Further, towards the end of the Matsya Purana, it also talks about some general topics, like for example, the Samudra Manthana episode has been mentioned in the Matsya Purana. Now this story of Samudra Manthana, that is the churning of the ocean, it is repeated in quite a few Puranas. And before the Samudra Manthana, churning of the ocean, we have little reference to the 10 incarnations of Lord Vishnu. For example, now here if you see in the Matsya Purana, why I am also not dwelling much in detail is that you just have just in about a few lines. For example, Vishnu incarnated as Narasimha, Vishnu incarnated as Vamana, Vishnu incarnated as Varaha to save Mother Earth. So just in about 2-3 lines you have. Not the entire story has not been mentioned. So in the Matsya Purana we get just a brief about all the Puranas that are there. Further, churning of the ocean comes in. So the churning of the ocean, now before the churning of the ocean we must discuss, there were a lot of problems that were being faced. Now what were the problems? Now if we have to churn something, problem is you need a churning rod first of all. Churning rod, for the churning rod we need a proper base on which the churning rod can stand. What will be the base? What will be the churning rod? So they had to find out this. The solution had been given that you will have nectar or amritam will come out of that, and that's how the gods and demons, they were fighting for that because both of them wanted to become immortal. But now the next question is, they also came up with a solution that to get the nectar we have to churn the ocean. Till here everything has been done, all the gods, demons, everyone, they are ready to churn the ocean. Now how to do that? For that we need some means. That is when the churning rod was Mount Mandara and the base was Kurma Avatara. That is when Lord Vishnu was incarnated as Kurma. The next Purana that we are going to see is Kurma Avatara. So like this, with this they start churning the ocean, and it is said that in the Matsya Purana it is mentioned that the churning of the ocean took place for 1,000 years of the gods. So you can consider almost 1,00,000 human years. For 1,000 years, the gods and demons, they were churning the ocean. Only then the the things from the ocean, all the gems, jewels, and finally Amrita, all of that came out. Now the first object that came was Chandra, moon. Shiva accepted Chandra. Now all this is very interesting. You can, if you want, note it anyway. You have the audio. Chandra, the moon god. Shiva took it as an ornament to keep it on top of his head. Next, goddess Mahalakshmi came, goddess of wealth and prosperity. Vishnu married her. Vishnu took her away. Next, Sura came out. Anyone knows what is Sura? Sura?
Devas?
No. No.
Music?
Suraganaha. That is different.
It's a drink, no?
Drink. You have heard of Surapanam?
Sura is wine.
Somapanam Surapanam, no ma'am?
Somapanam, Surapanam.
Somapanam Surapanam.
Acha. Shantiji and Shyamalaji have given the answer. Okay. So who is your...
I did mention drink, ma'am. The history I studied this Somapanam Surapanam.
Okay, but from here who is engrossed in Surapanam, Somapanam out of the 31 people here? No one? Or no one wants to say that?
The Rakshasas.
Oh no, not only Rakshasas. Everyone does Surapanam. Surapanam, Somapanam. Human beings also do it. Is there anyone who does here Somapanam, Surapanam? No? Okay. So just on a lighter note, Surapanam, Somapanam, nothing but wine that comes out. Today, of course, there are people who very casually say, no, I drink only wine, nothing else, right? So, of course, that in those times, like this Surapanam, Somapanam also, you see even Sugriva, he was indulged in drinks. Vali was indulged in drinks. So even consuming wine also is actually an addiction. So why I pressurized or stressed upon this is that reading the Puranas, someone who comes across that, especially children also, if you tell them, youngsters, they will say, oh, then it is very good, even the gods are also drinking Surapanam, Somapanam, they were engrossed in that. That doesn't mean that it is good. If the gods are doing something, everything is correct, no. If somewhere the gods go wrong, they also get the right punishment. Indra, you see, right? So, now if you see Surapanam, Somapanam, it is never mentioned with Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, Lord Rama, it is never mentioned that way. It is only mentioned with the demigods. For example, Indra. Indra is actually not a demigod, but then you can say the second level of gods. So that is the reason where when they engross, when they indulge in addiction of such objects, it leads to their downfall. That is the reason many places we see that Indra and all other gods, like for example, there's the Vajranaga episode we have seen, wherein if you do something wrong, you will surely get the punishment for that. Or for example, Indra's pride was put down by Lord Krishna, Govardhan Avatar. So like this, there are so many incidents that are there. So why I stressed upon this is that people will pick up points like this. Gods are indulging in Surapanam, Somapanam. If they are indulging in something wrong, surely they receive the punishments also for that. So you must not get confused with that. So that's the reason I just stressed upon that. So that's where Sura. Now Sura also, now you see even in wine also there is a goddess. Sura is the goddess of wine and drinking. And you know that is the reason why whenever you drink, now I don't know how many of you have ever drunk or something like that. At that time you feel, now it is said so, that's what we have heard. I have not consumed, so I don't know. It is always addictive, right? Anything can be addictive. It's not only Sura, or even sleep for that matter. Sleep also, that is the reason how much ever you sleep at 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, whatever it is, still in the morning, whatever time you get up, you say 6 you get up, 8 you get up, 9 or even late also you get up, first time we never feel like getting up, right? When someone wakes us up, we tell no 2 minutes, let me sleep, right? We never feel like opening our eyes. Some mornings we declare, I'm not feeling like opening my eyes today. Why so? Nidra Devi attracts us. Nidra Devi tries to pull us inside, saying that no, you have to sleep more, sleep more. And then we fight out somewhere and then we have to get up, right? So how much ever we sleep, you sleep for 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever it is, whenever you have to get up, our eyes do not open immediately. Why so? Sleep is also an addiction. Nidra Devi controls over that. That is the reason why wine also, Sura. Sura is the name of the goddess here. she tries to, so why wine or drinks or anything that people indulge in, why are they addictions? Because the goddess, though there is a goddess behind it, she is doing her duty. Nidra Devi is the goddess of sleep, so she will ensure that all the people will always sleep more and more. We have to come out of that. Sura, wine or drinks, she will ensure that we are addicted to drinks more and more. We have to come out of that. So even she is also very addictive, she also comes out of the ocean. Sura. Next, the divine horse Uchchaishrava. Uchchaishrava, where do we get the reference of Uchchaishrava? Hemaji, you must tell me. Hemaji, Manojji, Suchayaji, Lakshman. Why I asked you people is recently we have learnt in the Gita. Uchchaishravaha. You see, I told you the horse.
Right.
Ashwana.
Among the
Anuradhaji. Among the horses, the great is
great
Uchchaishravaha. That is because this Uchchaishravaha horse has come out from the ocean. Next, now this Uchchaishravaha was taken by Indra. But now,
cousins also.
sorry?
Stepbrother. He is Garuda's stepbrother.
Garuda's stepbrother. Yes, that is also one reference. Now this was taken by Indra, but now this Uchchaishravaha was taken by Indra, but in some references like the Mahabharata, we consider that Airavata, the elephant Airavata, came out of the churning of the ocean and Indra took that. Now here there is a controversy. In the Matsya Purana, there is no mention of Airavata at all. Instead of that, it is mentioned Uchchaishravaha. Now Uchchaishravaha also came out of the ocean, but there is no reference in the Mahabharata, or in general we don't know that Uchchaishravaha, the horse, was taken by Indra. The Matsya Purana mentions that, but in the Mahabharata it is mentioned that Airavata elephant came and that was taken by Indra. So now what should I follow? Airavata, because Mahabharata is an Itihasam. Itihasa Purana Bhyam, first preference has to be given to Itihasa. So in confusing or controversial situations like this, Pramanam has to be given first to Ramayana, Mahabharata, then only to the Puranas. But for your knowledge, make a note of both. Next, Kaustubam came. Kaustubam, a very beautiful gem. Kaustubamani, Lord Vishnu accepted that and he kept it. Now after this, what happened is that now all these nice objects came. Now 5 or 6 objects, all the things that came out, they are all very nice. Everyone was very happy. They are waiting for more and more to come. Okay, horse has come, a gem has come, the goddess herself has come, wine has come, everything nice has come. But now suddenly smoke started coming out, all the clouds started burning, fire came, poisonous snakes, venomous poisonous insects, snakes, all kinds of creatures. So as if something terrible or very bad is going to happen emerged. Everyone was shocked. Now till now, if all good things are happening, suddenly something bad happens, nobody will expect that, right? Can anyone guess what was coming out next? Why such things happened?
Hala.
It's a poison.
Hala was a poison that came in.
From Vasuki, no?
Vasuki, yes. So
From
this
Vasuki
hala
thing.
poison came out. All the devotees, all the gods and demons, they prayed to Lord Shiva. At that time, Lord Shiva came there and he appeared. He swallowed up the poison. That's where we have a reference that Lord Parvati tried to hold his neck, and that's how the neck turned blue in color. Another name for Lord Shiva came to be known as Neelakantha. Now all the danger was removed. Everyone was very happy. Just one second. Yeah. Now next what happened is that now everyone again continued to churn the ocean. Now Dhanvantari Bhagavan came out of the ocean with an Amrita that was there in his hand. Now finally there were many more things also that have been mentioned in some references, but in the Matsya Purana you have only these things that have been mentioned. Further, now the demons and the gods, both of them, they started fighting. At that time, now if the demons are given the Amrita, they will become immortal. They are going to cause more trouble to the world. So that's when Lord Vishnu assumed the form of Mohini, a form of a very beautiful woman, and that's how he distracted the demons, and somehow the Amrita was given to the gods. But here the demons, they got no Amrita, but then one demon got an Amrita, that is Rahu Bhagavan.
Rahu, Ketu,
Yes,
no, ma'am?
Rahu and Ketu. So that is the reason why even till date we have things, or people who believe in a bit of astrology and so on, we have the Rahu Dosham, Ketu Dosham and so on coming. And that's why Rahu and Ketu are also regarded as gods only in the Navagrahas. So the Navagrahas have to be always kept happy. But then this all we must believe. If you want, you believe. There is a lot of science behind this. For that we have to study Jyotisha Shastram. Without studying Jyotisha Shastram, you must not believe it. Some people are so, why I'm telling you this is, some people are so ignorant. You will be doing something bad happens, you will blame Rahu or Ketu. What have they got to do? Nothing. No, mine is Rahu dosham, Ketu dosham. Go to this temple, light lamps, or light a very black lamp, or so Shani temple people go, or you go there, and what they'll do, I'll tell you. You go to some big temple, they'll light a lamp. Next thing what they do is they will light a lamp, and all the black, even today you go to any temple, you see the back side of the temple, right? Whenever you do the pradakshina, the back side of the temple, wherever people light lamps or so, that is full black. If you see, that is, you would have seen people also doing, and few of us amongst us also will be doing this. It's a very, very bad practice. It's the entire area, the walls of the temple, the back side of the temple, if you see, that will always be black. Oil stains, ghee stains, and all that. Has anyone seen this? Temple, when you go towards the back side of any temple, have you seen this?
Yeah, they always light
People
lamps.
always do that. You light lamps. Lighting lamps is not bad, but then now at our houses also, if you see, we light a lamp and then immediately we douse it after some time, right? We don't ensure that our walls of our house become black, or even the place where you light a lamp, if that also gets black, maybe after 15 days or 1 month or so, we remove that and we wash that. No, that should not become black, right? Or even the lamp also that we light, we also remove that and we wash that frequently. We don't like things to get black. But you go to the temple, we do all such things and come. So then, just for my Rahu dosha, Ketu dosha to go away, you go to the temple, you make it black and come. Who has told you to do all this? Nobody has told us to do anything of this sort. Some astrologer, some priest will tell that is fine. But then you are destroying the temple where the Lord himself is there. For our Rahu dosha or some dosha to go away, you go to a temple backside, you light a lamp there, and the oil stains also you just apply it on the backside, on the pillar of the temples, and you come back. Who has told this? The main God is residing in the temple. You are dirtying his place and coming in, and then we feel that no, I am lighting a lamp and all my dosha will go away. So all these are very bad practices that people follow very blindly. I'm not against any practice. I'm not saying whoever tells to light a lamp is wrong or so. But then at least we must ensure that though we light a lamp and all this, we don't dirty the place and come in. Then the temple has been built, you are just making it dirty. There are so many people, you see, all the workers, cleaners, we see them now. There are many people, even on the roadside also, when we walk about, we will throw garbage on the road and go. You see the cleaner is sweeping, we feel no, anyway he's going to sweep, he will pick up. If you just imagine once you keep that, we keep ourselves in that person's place. Someone, now even in our houses also, if you see, if we are sweeping, any one day if you sweep, someone throws garbage, maybe a piece of paper or something, or someone even comes in midway, we get angry, saying that now I am cleaning something, how dare you do that. So the same thing is applicable for everyone. The reason I am telling is, all this is also mentioned in the Sthala Puranas. We have something called the Agama Shastras. Agama Shastras is the importance of Agamas. Agama is like how we have the Vedas and so on. Like this Agama Shastram is different, a text altogether. And in the Sthala Puranas also we have a lot of importance that is given to temples. So temples, just as we don't dirty our own house, the abode of gods, that is temples also, that should also not be dirty. Though it can be a religious practice or whatever we do out of our own faith and belief, not at the cost of dirtying something. So all this also to some extent has been mentioned in the Matsya Purana. So Rahu and Ketu also have become gods, and that's when Surya and Chandra, they immediately saw that no, these are not gods, they are actually asuras who have come and sat in the line. They will also get this Amrita. So that's when immediately Vishnu, he cut off Rahu's head. So that is the reason if you see the picture of Rahu, you will have only the neck or the head of Rahu, not the entire body that is there. But the head had already consumed Amrita, so therefore the head became immortal. And Rahu, he never forgave Surya and Chandra, the sun god and the moon god. That is the reason why we have the phenomena of eclipse taking place. That's when Rahu comes in between sun and moon, because he always has that enmity till date. All this has got a lot of geographical phenomena and science behind that, but as per the Puranas, this is what we believe in. Now further it is said, so at that time what happens, or what exactly happens during eclipse is that we feel as if Rahu is swallowing the sun or moon god. It comes in the path of both. So it is as if it is going to take revenge. It doesn't happen that way, only during the duration of the eclipse we feel it happens. Further, with this, the story part ends. Now a few technical aspects are mentioned, like architecture. Now today we have many people who study architecture as a career, also as a profession they take up. So architecture has got its roots in Matsya Purana. We find some information with regards to that. It is said that 18 great sages are said to be great architects. Who are they? Bhrigu, Atri, Vasishta, Vishwakarma, Maya, Narada, Vasudeva, Aniruddha, Kartikeya, Nandishwara, Shukra, Brihaspati, and so on. Now, there are certain reasons that have been said. A building, a house should never be built in the month of Chaitra. Okay, now you can consider all this again. Whatever has been mentioned in the Matsya Purana, I am telling you, however you want to follow, you can take it. In the Chaitra Masa, that is now during the month of April, one should never build a house. It is said that. And one who does this, it is said will get a disease. You will contract some kind of a disease. Month of Vaishaka is a very good time to begin. I'll tell you a very some people will not like, what now? Chaitra, Vaishakha, Jyeshta, Ashad. Whenever I have money, whenever I have the funds, whenever I get a good option, I will do that. Who are you to tell? What all this nonsense? I'll get a disease, this, that. Matsya Purana has mentioned that, I'm just sharing. But for this, there is a very practical reason. Chaitra, Vaishakha. Next month is Vaishakha, there is a month of May. In the month of May, we have a very auspicious day coming in. Does anyone know what is that? In the month of May, we have a very auspicious day. Shankara Jayanti, that is one day. Apart from that, Akshaya Tritiya, right? We have the festival of Akshaya Tritiya coming in. On this day of Akshaya Tritiya, what we do? We purchase a lot of gold, or we purchase a new house. So the Chaitra, the month of Vaishakha, that is roughly during the month of May, is very auspicious. So this can be one reason why in the Matsya Purana also it is mentioned that the month of Vaishakha is very auspicious to purchase a new house also. Further, it is said that in the months of
Akshaya Tritiya falls in Chitra month, not in Vaishakha.
Vaishakha, no, but in the month of May, right?
But Vaishakha is from mid-May, isn't it?
Mid-May, acha. It comes before that, is it? Acha.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
From April.
This month is April 23rd.
April 23rd. Oh, okay. So maybe, acha, then what is auspicious in the month of Jyeshta? Okay. At least in the Matsya Purana, it is in the month of Chaitra. So it is mentioned.
Vaishakha. It is now today is 10 days after 10 days. It is Vaishakha, Tritiya, after Amavasya.
Vaishakha, right?
Yeah. It is Vaishakha only.
Vijayji, I'll tell you.
Chandramana and Suryamana.
Yes, correct. I'll tell you one thing. Now we have to consider for Chaitra Vaishakha, that is there, you must not consider the south months that we follow. For us in South India, if you see the Tamil or the Malayalam calendar, it coincides with 15th of every month, whereas in North India, or you can say middle, central part of India, wherein they follow the Hindu religious calendar, it is 15 days before for us. We consider from the Purnima, they consider from the Amavasya. So that is what we have to consider when we consider Chaitra, Vaishakha, Jyeshta, Ashad. For us, the months are different. The Tamil Malayalam months are different. So it is 15 days later for us, whereas the Chaitra month is about to end now, just as Lakshmanji said. So that is the reason why Akshaya Tritiya falls in the next month. That is there. Okay. Now next it is said that in the months of June or July, June, especially end of May and June, Matsya Purana said that we must fill all our grains and keep. Now some people have this practice. Now most of us, I don't think mostly anyone does that. In your houses, I don't know how it is, but usually what we do is for 1 month together we buy all the groceries, provisions, and we keep it. But there are a few houses that fill in, especially rice or things like that, for 1 whole year they buy and keep, right? So maybe they'll have their own practice, I don't know. So that is usually in the month of January or so, wherein they fill the stock for the entire year and keep, especially for rice and so on. So it is said that in the months of May, you must buy the produce, like maybe grains or something, which will not get spoiled. I'm talking about rice, okay? Otherwise you buy dal and everything, that will get spoiled. The rice that is there, our granaries should be filled, Matsya Purana says. What is the reason for this? From June onwards, the rainy season starts. Now some people will say that after the new stock comes, that is after the rainy season in the months of October, November so also we can buy. But still, even today, I don't know, maybe ladies you know it better. Whenever we go to a market also, especially when we buy potatoes or so, we always, you see there are some potatoes which are very brown, that is muddy, and some are old. So we will always tell them, you give me the old stock, right? Nobody prefers to buy the new stock. Or even in the case of rice also, we always go to the shopkeeper and they like, at least I have seen my mother asking, she will say that, no, which is the old stock that is there. You don't prefer buying the new stock.
It is correct.
It is correct, right?
Old
so that is, so in the case of rice or potatoes like that, we buy something that is old stock. Now why the reason for this? That is being in the months of May also, till April, May also, the stock from next month rainy season starts. So in the rains, usually we don't go and buy leafy vegetables or something because rains, insects, everything attacks that. So produce is also not much. So therefore we must fill our stock by May, that is half of the year, till next May or April you buy the stock for 1 year and keep, again in next May you buy that. So this is the reason why in the month of May, Matsya Purana mentions that we must fill our granaries. So now we know the reason why. Though now you must see now why Matsya Purana, what it has got to do with someone buying granaries or provisions and all that. Such a great Purana talking about Matsya Avatara, churning of the ocean, God stories, is talking about even simple things like this, when we must fill our provisions. Is it going to tell all this? Matsya Purana, as I told you, Puranas are encyclopedic in nature. They will talk about each and everything. So even each and every small things also we do in life, they have a great impact. So it is said in the Matsya Purana that during the months of May you must fill in your granaries and keep, so that it will be always useful later. Further, different types of houses that are there, that has been mentioned. Now this will not make much sense to us today, because most of us, we live in flats, or even if we live in individual houses also, we don't consider all this planning that is there. But just to see the richness of the Matsya Purana, it has got a lot of information about building houses, that I will tell you. Houses which has got door on 4 sides, for example temples, you see north, south, east, west, on 4 directions we have doors. Or even palaces, such a house that has got doors on all 4 sides, that is called Sarvato Bhadra. Sarvato Bhadra, Sarvataha meaning from everywhere, Bhadraha meaning protection. Because we have doors on all sides, it is as if we are protected from all sides. Or from now in palaces or in temples, not in temples majorly, in palaces we see that on all the 4 sides the king will ensure that the army is ready, so that if anyone attacks from any of the sides, the army will always be ready and the palace and the kingdom will be protected. So that is the reason why this palace having doors on 4 sides used to be called Sarvato Bhadra, that is protected from all sides. Further, a palace, it is said, now how a palace should be constructed, that also has been mentioned. This was useful for kings in those times. A palace should be, it is said, 108 cubits. 108 cubits. Now what exactly is a cubit? Cubit is 1 hand length, that we know. Whenever you go and you buy flowers, or so we show them, right, half hand. She tells the flower, if you see the flower vendor, he will always, whenever he measures the flowers, you see how he measures. I'm talking about garlands, jasmine garlands, mogra and all, when we buy, he will always keep it to his hand, right? Hand, that is cubit, that is 1 hand length. So a palace should be that length. Further, so like this, different lengths have been mentioned. For an ordinary householder, it is said that one should build a house that is 32 cubits. Palace 108. Householder, now we need a normal house, right? For a small family to say 32 cubits. Today, of course, we don't consider all this. As per our budget, as per the square feet, today houses measured in square feet, right? 500 square feet, 600, 1000, 300, 400, whatever it is. So in square feet, the house is mentioned, measured today, but in those times it used to be measured in cubits. So that is the reason it is used. Further, it is said that different in temples, what kind of deities should be installed in temples, that has been mentioned. So in the case of Lord Vishnu, if you install an idol of Lord Vishnu in any temple, it is said that Vishnu's image should always have 4 or 8 hands, Chaturmukhi or Ashtamukhi, Chaturhasti or Ashtahasti, not 2 hands, because we know generally Vishnu has got 8 hands, Shankha, Chakra, Gada and Kamalam, the lotus in his hand. But sometimes 8 hands are given maybe for to bless from 1 hand, or maybe to hold something extra like a weapon or so. So sometimes it is also 8 for to depict the Vishwarupa Darshana of Lord Vishnu. Therefore 8 hands are also given at times, and mostly it will be 4 hands only. Then now what should be held in all the hands? For that that has also been mentioned. For example, a bow, because Vishnu has incarnated as Rama, we need also a bow in the hand, B-O-Y, bow, that is also there. So like this, and also an arrow. So you see in some images where Vishnu is having 8 hands, you will have a bow and arrow also in the hand. So like this, it has been mentioned. If there is a Vishnu temple, there has to be a Sannidhi, there has to be a shrine for Garuda towards the right. Goddess Mahalakshmi should be to the left of Lord Vishnu, and she should always hold a lotus in her hand. Further, what material or what metals should be used to make these idols? Gold, silver, copper, jewels, stone, wood, or from alloys. Alloys are nothing but mixture of two or more metals. From all these substances, the deities should be made. The proportions should also be proper. Now, whenever we are carving an idol, so you see little bit of Shilpa Shastram, basis of Shilpa Shastram, how a particular idol should be sculpted. So the sculptors earlier they used to study a bit of Matsya Purana because it gives reference, not much, but slight reference to Shilpa Shastram also, how deities, how idols should be carved. Now the proportions it is mentioned of various parts of the body should be proper. That means one hand is big, one hand is small, or one feet is carved properly, one feet is not carved properly. Such things should not be done at all. Further, Shiva, in the case of Shiva must have a crescent moon on his forehead. Shiva must be dressed in tiger skin or elephant skin. He must be garlanded with a snake garland. Then, so like this there are different, a trident in his hand, Trishula, Nandi in front of him. So like this, these are the rules for Lord Shiva. Now, there is, if someone has to construct a very particular image, for example, Ardhanarishwara Shiva, Ardhanarishwara, half man, half woman, female part, that has to be very, the part of Shiva should be towards the right, part of Parvati should be towards the left. This is the reason why even till date, whenever husband and wife, whenever a couple, whenever either you prostrate, you go to a temple, or maybe you fall at the feet of someone, or whenever in special pujas also, the wife should always be towards the right side of her husband, not towards the left. When you go to the left, that is only during certain ceremonies, Shraddha ceremony or so on. And always whenever the wife moves about, if you see, now most of us, we have some other pujas or rituals at home. You'll see the priest will always tell you to always go, whenever the wife goes to the left side of her husband also during the Shraddha, if you have noticed, whenever you go to the right side, he will always tell you to go from the front side, right? Has anyone done this? Has anyone done this?
Yes.
Whenever
Yes,
you do
ma'am.
during the Shraddha, if any of you do it,
Yes.
husband and wife are standing,
yes.
left side you will go from behind, but from the right side when you go, you have to go from the front of your husband. So why this is being done? Reason is Ardhanarishwara Shiva. Revati ji, unmute yourself. So in Ardhanarishwara Shiva, Vagartaviva Sampraktau Vagarta Pratipattaye Jagatah Pitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau. Kalidasa mentions in the Raghuvamsham first verse, Jagatah Pitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau. The father and mother of the entire world, parents of the entire world, are none but Lord Shiva and Parvati. Therefore, whatever today couples do, or what are the rules that are set for a householder and his wife, all the rituals are the same as Shiva and Parvati did. So in Ardhanarishwara Shiva also, half Shiva, half Parvati. Parvati will always be on the right and Shiva will always be on the left. Okay. Now for this is the aspect that we follow in. But then some people have a controversy. They will say that when Shiva and Parvati are separately depicted, at that time Parvati should be towards the right of Shiva. But in the Ardhanarishwara Shiva, that image that is there, because Shiva and Parvati are one and the same, so at that time some references you find that Shiva is on the right side and Parvati is on the left side. So this is also there, but there we don't consider Shiva and Parvati to be separate, or there we don't consider them as husband and wife. It will be just one image that is there. So at that time, some places you can see Shiva on the right side and Parvati on the left side. On the right side you have the Trishula and the skull being held. On the left side you have a mirror. Now in few temples if you go, the goddess holds a mirror. It is said that the goddess sees her beauty in that and also shows a reflection to her devotees. And also a lotus. So this is also there. So just be aware of both of this. And there is also Uma Maheshwara Shiva, wherein two separate images of Shiva and Parvati, that is Uma and Maheshwara. Then there are different pavilions that have been mentioned. Now what is a pavilion? Not the cricket pavilion. Mandapas. You go to temples, you see a lot of mandapas. Each of the mandapas, especially if you go to temples in South India, you see most of the temples have got a lot of pillars. For example, the Srirangam temple, Madurai temple and so on. All those temples have got a lot of pillars. Has anyone sat and counted the pillars? We don't count. We just say no, many pillars, right? Or maybe you read through references or some information. No, so and so temple has got so and so pillars, 1,000 pillars, 100 pillars and so on. Now each of these pillars has got a certain name. For example, a Pushpaka Mandapa will have 64 pillars. A Pushpabhadra Mandapa has got 62 pillars. I'm not naming everything, I'm just telling you. Suvrata Mandapa has got 60 pillars. Like this, there are about 27 different kinds of mandapas that can be built in temples or even in halls. You see a lot of big halls that are there, big places in open area, wherever people, big halls or open places. If there are pillars, the number of pillars also has been mentioned. So depending on the number of pillars, that mandapa is given a particular name. Further, you have a lot of information regarding donations that has been mentioned in the Matsya Purana. Now there are different methods of donation. The most common method which we do even today is the Tulabharana. Tulabharana, mostly you go to temples, you see you have a normal, the weighing scale that is there. On that a person sits, maybe a small child or anyone to whomever
In the
you
Guruvayur
pray.
temple,
Guruvayur temple, we have the famous
Tulabharam.
Tulabharam.
In Tirupati also.
Yes. So on over that you have on one side the person sits, and on the other side, depending on what we pray for, be it bananas, jaggery or whatever it is, we offer, and both should be balanced properly. This is the most common donation that all of us we practice and do till date. And other side, now the next amount of donation, it is said that Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha is nothing but Hiranyam meaning gold. So lot of gold donation is done. Today's times most of us we don't do. Gold itself is costly. We ourselves don't have gold. What to give it to others, right? So pot full of gold, or even in the Tulabharana also earlier people used to, like a person used to be used to sit on one side, and on the other side lot of gold used to be kept. So matching the weight of the person or more than the weight of the person, gold used to be donated. So this was one kind of donation. In the third, it is said that Brahmanda. What is that Brahmanda? Brahmanda, the third type of donation, wherein like a mini universe or so used to be sculpted or used to be made out of gold, and that used to be donated. How we have miniature paintings and all that we do today, wood carvings, or we buy those. If you go to Guruvayur and so on, you get those elephants, some idols we buy, right, made of wood. Mostly it is made of wood or some metal, but in olden times it used to be of gold. So if we give some statues or so, like in the shape of a universe, that is called Brahmanda. Fourth is called a tree made of gold, Kalpadapa we can say. That is a tree of gold can be donated. Fifth is Goshahara, 1,000 cows. Sahasra, 1,000 goes cows, 1,000 cows can be donated. Next is Kamadhenu, a cow and calf both made of gold, that has to be donated. Kamadhenu. Seventh form of donation is Hiranyashva, a horse made of gold has to be donated. Eighth is Ashwarata, horse and 4 chariots. Ashwa, horse, 4 chariots made of gold. So in those times gold was given a lot of importance. Today also we have gold being important, but then mostly we don't find people, even if you invest in gold also, we will not give it in donation much. Today we do it in terms of money. Further, we see the next form of donation that is there, elephant made of gold. Hema Hastirata. Hema gold, Hasti elephant, Hastirata. So an elephant as if riding a chariot or so, that can be donated. Next is you have 10 plows. Panchalingaka, Panchanglaka you can say, or Panchalingaka, wherein chariot, plows, nothing but Haladharaha. Haladharaha, another name for Balarama, Krishna's brother Balarama. He used to carry a plow in his hand. So 10 plows made of gold that can be donated. So like this, different donations also have been mentioned. There are about 16 forms of donation which have been mentioned. Lastly, it is about even Ratnadhenu. Ratnadhenu is nothing but a cow made of gold should be donated, and along with that the eyes, ears, horns, they should have jewels, or you can say diamonds, stones studded on them. So even today if you see in certain places, you will have the horns or ears or even the body parts of cows being painted and all that. So in those times a cow made of gold, along with that the body parts of the cow should be studded with gems.
Nowadays, in some temples, they will donate a cock,
Yes.
then a sheep,
Sheep
goat
and all
also.
that, yeah. So
Okay.
mostly people like us, normally Hindus, we believe in donating cows that are there, but then we cannot say animal sacrifice, but animal donation, other animals also are donated. But mostly because cow is considered to be sacred, mostly we consider cow. Why horse and elephant? Because they are used for war purpose. So that is the reason why horse and elephant also are donated. So with this, Matsya Purana comes to an end, wherein it is said that if we give all these different forms of donation, it's very, very superior, it leads to a lot of merit and so on. Now, does that mean that if this is the kind of donation that people used to do in those times, does it mean that Matsya Purana is not at all applicable today? It's not like that. Whatever we can, now donation that itself should mean that whatever a person can donate, that only should be donated as per one's own means and capacity. Charity, donation, dhanam is very, very important, but desha, kala, patra, Lord Krishna has said, depending on the country or the place and the situation where we are, depending on that kala, time. Okay, today I feel like donating. I am having, say for example, I'll give you a very simple example. I have about 5,000 rupees with me. I am donating 4,000 rupees. Now I have only 1,000. What is the use? No use. Or in the case of Raghu, for example, Raghu Vamsha, we have Rama's ancestor King Raghu. He donated everything so much that his entire treasury became empty, and now he had to go out and beg. This should not be the situation. If I have got 5,000 rupees, okay, maybe I can donate about 2,000 or say 3,000 maximum. But at least I should keep something with me. Otherwise tomorrow I have to go and beg to someone. What is the use of donating that way? Therefore, desha, kala, patra. Patra is deserving. Go to a roadside beggar and you give them something, next minute he will buy a cigarette out of that and spend that money. What is the use of giving dhanam? And it is said that to whomever we donate money also, we have to be very, very careful. If the person uses that for a good purpose, we get half punya of that. Say for example, people come in, right, from different social organizations, NGOs and so on, we need money for so and so. If they really use it for that, 50% of that merit of doing that good act comes to us. But if the same money is used for something evil, like fraud or maybe addictions like this, 50% of papa also will come to us. So we have to be very careful. So if, say for example, to a roadside beggar you give about 5 rupees, that person maybe he blows a cigarette or he buys some alcohol or something and drinks. 50%, even though you don't drink alcohol, you don't smoke, that 50% papa has come to you. That is registered in our bank. So we have to be very, very careful while donating. Now here few people will say, what I have to do? I have donated with all my heart. That is one thing, true, but then we must be very careful to whom we donate, especially in today's times. Just because it has been mentioned in the Matsya Purana, just because it has been mentioned somewhere, donation is very, very important, charity is very, very important, all that is there. But to whom we must donate? Desha, Kala, Patra, very, very important. Krishna has already mentioned this thousands of years back in the Mahabharata. Okay. So with this, the Matsya Purana ends here. I hope the Matsya Purana is clear to everyone. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone, you want to ask something? Ask or say something? No. Okay. Next.
Ma'am, I just wanted to share one thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how contextual it is, but when you told about the temples being, those lamps being burnt and black, right?
Yeah.
So here in the United States, right, we have a rule. When we go to the Shani temple also, we put till oil, right?
Yeah.
And the till seeds, right, black seeds. So we have a container down below all the Navagraha where we collect all that oil and the seeds.
Okay.
And we devotees only have to clean it up as volunteers, okay?
Okay.
And in temples where it is not a big temple for the Navagraha, we put silver foil plates.
Okay.
And then the priest only is allowed to do it. So we give the oil and the seed, till and everything to the priest to offer. And he will put it in that plate and the idol, he'll do the entire vidhi for us. And we have to just pray, stand behind and pray. And then clean that plate for the temple.
Okay.
So immediately, so nothing spills down, right? Because if the oil falls down, people can slip also.
Okay.
There's an accident probability. So, and when you are even burning the lamps, we have a tray separately where we can put a lamp, burn it and keep it there so that cleaning the tray becomes easy.
Okay.
So that's a practice.
Yeah, this is a very good thing that is correct. So like this, of course, things. Yeah. Things are.
Ma'am, actually, big temples, where I live, like Kapali or Maridishwara, there is a separate area for this
For lighting lamps, right?
Yeah. Earlier it was permitted inside. Now totally nobody.
Nobody
lights
is
that.
allowed.
They
So
are
all these are good things that are being done or implemented, and
Yes.
yeah. So mainly like what happens is that mostly we go and we blame. We blame the temple, or maybe they say they are not doing anything and stuff. But then things are mostly with all us devotees only. If we do it properly, there are 2 or 3 devotees who come and they do that. Of course, you don't take it in. What will happen if I just apply some oil and go away, right? So, but then
No,
just
they
as
also mark, should
yes,
not
you should not do that.
campus.
Yeah.
Because their campus only cause that black.
Black smoke, correct.
Yeah, suit, they
Suit,
should not
correct.
light campus.
So like this, these are all good practices. If such things are being done, then it is really good. Like you have a separate area, or even if you go to some temples, you also have that breaking of coconuts that takes place. Of course, that does not cause any harm, but then you see the way the amount of coconuts now depends on every temple. Especially if you've ever visited or seen the Sabrimala temple, you see near the 18 steps itself, we have people breaking coconuts. Of course, that is collected and distributed, but then the place itself is so unclean, so dirty, and so on. Of course, we must not blame, or we must not talk ill about temples, but then there again we need a lot of things that need to be done. There should be a certain place where people just throw about, and when the coconuts are being thrown, of course it's such are famous temples that are there, so you have a lot of crowd also coming in. When they throw, the nearby person also, you'll hit them. So like this, some provisions need to be done by the temples also. Now such things like breaking of coconuts are not there in our hands, but at least the soot or the lighting lamps and all that, like in few temples things like this have been done, wherein you have a separate place, or as Yasmin ji shared, in the US they do it that way. So all that is fine, but from our side at least little. Not everywhere such things are done, not everywhere people realize that. Suchaya ji, yes.
I wanted to say.
Lakshmi.
1 minute, Suchaya ji, yes. Chandrika ji, then.
No, we were talking about donation.
Huh.
Here in some temples they donate jaggery.
Yes, jaggery is also there. In Tulabharam, you can donate anything. Jaggery is also a very important part. Yes, correct. Yeah.
Jackfruit also they are giving.
Jackfruit, so anything. In
Yeah.
case of donation, that happens is you can give anything in donation. That doesn't
Banana,
matter. Most
all
popular is bananas and jaggery. That is most popular.
Yeah.
Suchaya ji.
Lakshmi ji, in terms of donation, I just had this take. I don't know how relevant it is. It was just giving ideas to this group. I don't know, because somewhere some good can happen.
Yeah.
See, today's world, we cannot do the Hiranya Dhanam and all that. So what we can do, the best thing what we can do is donate to these goshalas.
Yeah.
What has happened is, of late, because of the dairy industry, lot of male calves which are born are considered a waste.
Yes, correct.
Until they are utilized for breeding. So what they do, as soon as the calf is born, within the 3rd day, the calf is pulled out and sold to the butcher. Okay, so, and this has been a practice of late, very, very rampant in all the states. So, some noble souls have started goshalas where they are fed.
Yeah, correct. I think
These calves are rescued and fed, and they live their lives there happily.
Happy, correct.
So such places could be very good this for
Places of
donation.
donation.
Another one is Vidya Danam. Now, a lot of students, especially I don't have any political affiliation in terms of this, especially the Brahmin students. Some poor students, some poor sects have really nothing to support themselves for, in terms of education when they reach the higher level. So many temples, especially the Devi temples, have this Vidyanidhi. So wherever one is, one can source. If there is a Vidyanidhi, please donate, because it is giving life to somebody who eventually might do a breakthrough for this world.
Yeah, correct.
Third type of donation one can do is to the places where the elephants are being, the elephant
Taken care, correct.
Keeping is done. They are bred for temples actually. They are bred for the use of temples. They are domesticated. So that is one other very, very noble animal, which is, there is a reason to this, because if you see, or if you observe the temple, the architecture, every temple has a has lot of elephants and horses being carved.
Yeah.
What is said is this is a tribute to all those animals which were used to construct these temples, to
Correct,
pull the
correct.
stone, to push the stone, etc. So that is another third type of donation. And the last one would be definitely these days healthcare has become very, very expensive. Many hospitals run these facilities where you can go and donate to people who cannot afford it.
Yeah.
So that more than of course there is crowdsourcing, but crowdsourcing does not reach all villagers, etc. So that is another type of donation one can do.
Yeah.
This, I don't know whether this is relevant, but this is just to give an idea to
Good
anybody
idea.
who is noble soul and would wish to.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lakshmi.
Thank you, very nice. So yeah, so Chairji has shared a few things. So that's how I said that though in the Puranas it is mentioned these kind of donations, all these were relevant in those times. Today times have changed. We have other places where things are relevant. Like she shared a few examples. All of us will have our own opinions on this. And a few more things to share, like someone said you can give an annadanam, someone will say we can give in orphanages or schools, or you can teach
Old books are the
old
old
books.
books also.
Now
we can
some mostly now today what people believe in is you don't have to always give in terms
Used
of
books.
money, right? Maybe some
Yeah.
like even today you see maybe not only used books, even new also, like even some people today what we do is
Stationery items also they are donating.
correct. You go to a wedding or something like that also. Sometimes we prefer giving in the form of gifts, right? Rather than money, maybe you buy and give them something. So then you also feel like giving them, and at the same time, it's not only money that comes in. So like this, there are different ways in which it is done. But the most important principle that has been shared is donation. So giving and donating, donation is important, but be very careful with Desha, Kala, Patra. Krishna has already said that in the Gita. That one thing we have to remember. Whom we donate, what we donate, and on which situation we donate. That is also very important. Like people who are over generous, like for example Karna from the Mahabharata reference. Karna, he was said to be a great donor. He ended up donating his own armor, Kavacha Kundala. Indra came very shrewdly, he came there and he took away all the Kavacha Kundala of Lord Karna, and that resulted in his death eventually. So we must not do things like that which will lead to our own danger. Then what is the use of that? So of course being selfless, giving in charity is important, but not at the cost of harm at all. Okay, so Matsya Purana gives on a very ends on a very nice note, giving a very good message of donation. Next we start with the Kurma Purana. Kurma Purana. So till now I think we have seen 3 Puranas: Brahma Purana, Vishnu Purana, Matsya Purana, right? 3 we have seen, correct?
Yes, 3.
Okay. So this 3, is it clear to everyone? I hope you have. Now don't tell that you cannot remember what I told you in the Brahma Purana. Of course, I understand it's an information overload, but still, I hope you have liked the first 3 sessions that are there. First 3 Puranas which we have seen, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, madam. Yes.
Okay. So now next we have to start with the Kurma Purana. Now Kurma Purana, as the name suggests, Kurma Avatara. We just now saw during the churning of the ocean, Lord Vishnu's second avatara that is there. That is Kurma Purana. So the Kurma Avatara. Now Kurma Purana to some extent, unlike the other Puranas that are there, like depending, though the name is something and then the subject matter is different, Kurma Purana to some extent mainly focuses on the Kurma Avatara. Now that doesn't mean it does not cover other topics, but then it mainly focuses on the Kurma Purana. So it starts with a conversation. First, this Kurma Purana was preached by Lord Vishnu to Narada. Further, Narada narrated it to Suta. Suta reference you get in the Srimad Bhagavata. Suta later narrated it to an assembly of sages. So this was how. So the conversation between Suta and sages, that is what is the Kurma Purana. Now initially this Purana was divided into 4 parts: Brahmi Samhita, Bhagavati Samhita, Gauri Samhita, and Vaishnavi Samhita. So this is one of those Puranas that gives a lot of importance to the goddesses. Now, usually when we have some divisions, it can be Brahma, Bhagavata, Shiva, Vishnu. It doesn't do that. on the 4 goddesses, Brahmi, Bhagavati, Gauri and Vaishnavi. So Kurma Purana talks a lot about Devi, goddess Parvati especially, and all her incarnations. Further, so this is how initially the Kurma Purana was divided. Further, we see that even today, the today's form that is there of Kurma Purana, that is having 2 parts, Purva and Uttara. Purva is the initial part and Uttara is the concluding part. Now, Purva Purana, or the Purva part, the first part of the Kurma Purana consists Purva and Kurma. Don't get confused in this. Purva is the initial part. In that, a few tales have been told, like for example, the rules of the Varnashrama. Then Kurma Purana story itself has been described. Then the origin of the geosphere, geography especially, I don't know if Shambhavi Shrikari you have joined in. In geography you have biosphere, lithosphere, geosphere, hydrosphere. Shambhavi, are you there?
Yeah, in the step by step we will say.
She's not there, okay. But I think
I
Shambhavi
know
will be
sphere,
studying.
stetosphere.
Shantiji, yeah. So
But luckily we remember even at this age.
so that is the reason I did not ask anyone. I asked only Shambhavi. Because elders mostly we forget, right? If you have studied in school. So like this geosphere, lithosphere, hydrosphere, land and all that. So geosphere, that is mainly of this earth, what happens. So a lot of geographical reference we get in the Kurma Purana, in the Purva part. Then Vamana Avatara story has been told. Then the Ikshvaku clan has been described. Pururava, Rama, Krishna story. So a lot of repetition takes place in the Puranas. Then the description of the 4 yugas, greatness of Varanasi, greatness of Lingas, Shivalinga, and the greatness of Prayaga, river Yamuna, and so on. This has been mentioned in the initial part. We will look at all this in detail. Uttara part, the second part, talks about Yoga Shastram, a bit philosophical. Kurma Purana is a bit philosophical. It talks about Yoga Shastram, then talks about Lord Rudra, then metaphysical knowledge. So some things like which may not always be very, very simple. Like for example, the tales of gods. Okay, Krishna came in, Rama was born, he got married, he was sent to the forest, then he returned back to Ayodhya, became the king. Very easy to understand. But if I say, okay, there is a soul that has been born, it has just got a body, it is very, very temporary, after leading a life full of illusion, that is nothing but Maya, that Shankaracharya uses in his terms. Later he goes back, he unites with the Brahman and so on. First is also a story, second is also a story. First is the story of Rama, we can relate easily, you'll want to listen more and more. Second, you'll say please start with the stories, otherwise I leave the meeting and go away. Both knowledge is important, but first is normal knowledge, second is metaphysical. You can say things which we have to imagine, which we have not seen or which we cannot relate easily. But that doesn't mean that now Rama, if you see the story of Rama, I'm just giving you one example, Rama, or why the different stories we can relate to. Reason being, we see the same things around. Now Rama, you see, he has got a wife, Sita. We also see a woman. We also see a wife in our lives. He has got parents, we have got parents. He's also, with different issues he faces in his life, different issues we face in our life. So that is the reason. So we can relate to that easily. Whereas in the case of soul, body and so on, we also have got the soul, body and everything. But then it's all temporary. If someone says no, soul leaves your body, nobody has seen a soul leaving a body. Right? So philosophical things become very difficult to understand, but that doesn't mean that we must not study that at all. Further, so Kurma Purana is a bit philosophical also. Further, Ashtanga Yoga. Now Ashtanga Yoga, a few of us we have seen Ashtanga Yoga told by Patanjali Muni. That is Ashtanga Yoga, starting from Hatha Yoga, all the asanas and so on, finally attaining Samadhi. That is Ashtanga Yoga. So a bit of Yoga Shastra mainly. All the people who are yoga teachers or who practice yoga, to some extent you must read the Kurma Purana. It has got a lot of reference with regards to Yoga Shastra. Further, we have the description of dining. Now what is a dining? Dining is how one person must eat food. That has also been mentioned here. Importance of how we must eat. Now today most of us we sit up and eat, or maybe we eat in a small bowl, plates and so on. So there are certain rules for having food also. That also has been mentioned here. Duties of a brahmachari has been mentioned. Duties of a graduate person has been mentioned. Further, duties of edible and non-edible things have been mentioned. So a bit of information with regards to food also has been mentioned in the Kurma Purana. Further, we see that description of a vanaprastha-ashrama, what people do in the vanaprastha-ashrama, that is post retirement. We can consider what are the duties of that. Duties of an ascetic, a sage, has been mentioned. So basically, if you see, duties of all the classes of the society, whether you are a brahmachari, whether you are a working professional, or whether you are a vanaprasthi or an old man, whatever it is, all that has been mentioned in detail in the Kurma Purana. Then we also have the greatness of different pilgrimage places like the Matsya Purana. All this has been mentioned in the Uttara part, or in the second part of Kurma Purana. Now the Kurma Purana in all has got about 35 chapters. This one minute. Okay. Now the Purana itself, the Kurma Purana itself, starts with the story of Samudra Mantana. Because why did the tortoise even incarnate? The reason was to balance the Mount Mandara. Right? So that was only main purpose of Kurma Avatara. That is the churning rod Mandara. It had to just be a base that is there. So that is the main purpose. So the detailed Samudra Mantana story has been mentioned in the Ramayana and Mahabharata also, in both these epics, and also in the Matsya Purana we have seen. So main purpose of Kurma Purana was to balance, in the form of a tortoise, Lord Vishnu incarnated in order to balance a churning rod in the form of Mount Mandara. Now it is said that initially when goddess Mahalakshmi comes out, at that time Kurma is already there below, right? That means Vishnu is already there below Mount Mandara. So few people here, they will have a controversy saying that how come then Vishnu came and he married goddess Mahalakshmi? If Vishnu was there in the form of a tortoise, then how come second Vishnu came? How many Vishnus are there? Now remember one thing, that say for example, whenever Rama Avatara takes place, whenever Krishna Avatara takes place, doesn't mean that Vishnu and Vaikuntha disappears or Vishnu and Vaikuntha vanishes. Vishnu is only one, but he incarnates, he takes another form that is there. So Vishnu in the form of Kurma is different, and Vishnu in the form of original Narayana Vishnu is different. We must not get confused with this. Some people have a controversy. Like how come Vishnu came there and took up goddess Mahalakshmi with her when Vishnu is actually in the form of a tortoise? That is the reason why Parshurama, even till date we say Parshurama is one of the 7 Chiranjeevis, right? 8 Chiranjeevis, including Markandeya. So in that, Parshurama is still there. We have Rama Avatara taking place, Krishna Avatara taking place, 2 avatars simultaneously, plus we also have the Vishnu and Vaikuntha. Parshurama in the form of Vishnu is still there. So it is not that there can be only one Vishnu. So one Vishnu or his incarnation. It's not like that. Vishnu can take many forms at the same time. So therefore, goddess Mahalakshmi is wedded. This has been stressed upon a lot in Kurma Purana, because Vishnu, Kurma is a form of Vishnu only. So a lot of reverence has been given to Vishnu that is there. Further, then the Vishnu Purana starts with the story of Indradyumna. Now, who is this Indradyumna? Let's look at that. Now, Indradyumna, now Vishnu tells all the gods and sages present there the story of Indradyumna. Now, there was a king called Indradyumna, and he ruled the world very well. And when he died, he was born as a Brahmana. Now, as a Brahmana, Indradyumna in his next birth, he performed all rites for a Brahmana, teachings, Vedas, everything. And he also started to pray to goddess Mahalakshmi. And when goddess Mahalakshmi appears in front of him, Indradyumna tells that, you tell me about yourself. How are you? What exactly is true Jnanam? What exactly is true knowledge? And you tell me what is goddess Mahalakshmi? I want to know about you. Goddess Mahalakshmi there replies that, I am the wife of Lord Vishnu. There is no difference between him and me. But even the gods also cannot understand, even the sages also cannot comprehend who am I. So what about you? How can I tell you? It is very difficult. So to know this, you have to pray to God Vishnu himself. Now for this you will have a doubt. I'll tell you a very simple example for this. Now amongst all of us also, 35 people are there. Till date, if I ask someone, or if you ask me also, what is God? If I ask any one of you, all the 35 people here, we'll all have different answers, right? Even one person will have multiple answers. We cannot conclude with any one word. Like defining God, or maybe defining something, like say for example some supreme, Brahman or something like that, we will never have one definition. There is no concept of definition. Like in science how we have definitions. If you don't write that, the teacher cut marks. cuts marks, right? You have to write word to word. It doesn't happen in the case of God or things like that. If someone asks what is God, I'll tell no, some power that rules all the three worlds. Maybe some of you will say the thing that I find in my puja room. Some will say the person whom I see in my dreams. Someone will say no, the person whom I see in a temple. Out of these 4 answers that I gave you, all the 4 answers are correct, right? One whom we worship at home in a puja room, yes, that is God. One whom I worship in temple, that is God. One sometimes who comes in my dreams, that is God. Or one who rules over the 3 worlds, that is God. All the 4 answers, all the 4 opinions are correct. We cannot comprehend at all. We human beings cannot do that. Goddess says that even the sages and the gods themselves also cannot do. So Indradyumna, how can I explain you? You pray to Lord Vishnu only, he will help you. Having said so, Goddess Lakshmi goes away. Indradyumna starts praying to Vishnu. Indradyumna continued to meditate, and finally Vishnu appeared and he told Indradyumna what true knowledge, what is true knowledge, and all that about Jnana. Now the gods came to know that Indradyumna has become very learned. Vishnu himself has come and instructed. So now all the gods and sages, they go about and they tell that, they ask Lord Vishnu here that you, in those times, you did not tell us also what is true knowledge, what is Jnanam and all that. You have gone and told Indradyumna. Now we wish to hear what is true knowledge from your mouth. Vishnu tells, I will again tell all of you. And Vishnu, he repeated all these teachings in the form of Kurma, in the form of Kurma Avatara, and this only is the Kurma Purana. So the teachings of true knowledge, which Vishnu had initially told to the Brahmin Indradyumna, the same teachings he repeated to all the gods who were present there during the Samudra Mantana episode in the form of a turtle, in the form of a tortoise. And these sacred words, the teaching that has been told, that is only the Kurma Purana. So the teachings of true knowledge told by Vishnu in the form of a tortoise, that is nothing but the Kurma Purana. There are many subjects that have been covered by Lord Vishnu. First is the Varnashrama Dharma that is said. Varnashrama Dharma we have already used, we have already seen in detail. I am not going to repeat that again. The Brahmanas, they have the duties of teachings. Kshatriyas have the duty of protection. Vaishyas are the business class, and the Shudras are responsible for all the services that they are provided. So if all of them, they perform all their rules, then they'll always be in life. They'll always be very happy in life. Now further, the rules of a celibate, that is a student. Now a person that is roughly, you can consider till the age of about 25, but for both males as well as females. One is, in the case of males, if you consider, now the Upanayana Samskara in those days used to be done even for girls, that is there. But in those times, what used to happen, like the Rigveda times, we have great women like Gargi, Maitreyi and so on. They used to not go in the family way. So that is the reason why they had the Upanayana Samskara being done. They used to study the Vedas, they used to live in the Gurukula and so on. Today, women, we don't have the Upanayana, we don't study the Vedas much. Now, there is a controversy. Why should I not study the Vedas? Now, Vedas, as we know, there are a lot of swaras and intonations. When we chant that, the whole body starts to move. Now, that doesn't mean people who are learning the Vedas, you must know that we must not actually shake our body, shake our head and such mantras. In this way, mantras should not be chanted. But still, because of the swaras and intonations, a lot of movement is caused. A lot of internal movement also is being caused in the body. And the lower abdomen also keeps moving. So because of that, the lower abdominal part or the uterus of the woman, whenever we chant, it is a bit disturbing. So it goes up and down. It can cause, there is a possibility that it causes fertility problems in women later. So those who wish to go in the family way, usually most women today, we are in the family way, you are married. So it is said that it leads to fertility issues and so on. Now so that is one reason why Vedas were not studied by women. This was one reason that has been told. But now, how much should I believe this? Today's times, if you take now, most of us, what we do is, like today, especially pregnant women and all that, a few things have become very popular, right? Yoga, pregnancy yoga, or some workout, this, that. So in that, some people can argue, saying that why should we not do then? We are doing all kinds of things, so what is wrong in chanting the Vedas? If we consider that way, then it is not at all wrong. And secondly, one more reason is, if women are not chanting the Vedas, men should be chanting the Vedas. Men having the thread, sacred thread. Men are also not doing that today, so if you get a chance, there is nothing wrong in learning the Vedas. But why in general Vedas have been prohibited for the women? This was the reason. So here also, for a celibate that has been told, study the Vedas, it is in general gain knowledge. So student life that we have today, going to school, going to college, getting proper education, learning basic skills that are there. Today we have a lot of importance to skills, or something called extracurricular activities, right? You score 90%, 95% doesn't matter. What else you did, that itself shows, or that itself keeps us out of the crowd. Same thing has been mentioned in Kurma Purana by Vishnu. Then he says that to develop on our skills, these are primary duties of a student life. Further, when this option comes in, the person gets to, when this stage of life gets over, the person has two options. One is whatever he has studied, you live upon that, you do meditation, that is you take up sannyasa. That is the reason why we have many acharyas, many people who take up sannyasa after studenthood is over, the different Shankaracharya parampara that we see. But most of us, we don't go in that way. We go take up the life of a householder. So here, after your brahmacharya ashrama, till the celibate life or till student life, for everyone it is common. But after the age of 20, 25 or so, then you can decide where you want to go. You want to take up sannyasa, that is the Shankaracharya lineage. That is the reason why most of our acharyas, they take up sannyasa. Or you can go in the life of a householder. Now, in the case of most of us, we always choose the second option. First option is very difficult. First option is not in our hands. I cannot go and I'm going to become a sannyasi. I need 10 disciples in front of me. It doesn't happen that way. Disciples have to come and choose us. We don't have to go and choose. Similarly, for all the sannyasis that we see around today, the sannyasi has to come and choose. The guru has to come and choose us as a disciple. We cannot go and tell someone, you become my guru, I'll be under your tutelage, give me sannyasa. We cannot go and decide. The guru has to do that. So with this, the celibate house ends. With this, celibacy ends. Next is grihastha furnace, serving guests, performing sacrifices, living happily. And grihastha very, very important, wherein you take care of your family first, be it in the case of development, personal, physical, then going the family way, getting children, taking care of one's own self as well as one's family members. Like this, there are different things that have been done, but at the same time, not forget whatever we have studied. So that is the reason why it is said that people, when we complain, again why the Kurma Purana is very relatable to our lives, is we feel that post-retirement, when I have nothing to do, I will start reading something, I'll start studying something. I'm not telling in the case of all of you, you are already dedicating time. It may not be only for religious scriptures. I am studying the Puranas, Ramayana, Vishnu Sahasranama, not only for religious aspects. Anything that you want to do in life, do it now. That is the reason why you see old people also, they'll say, no, it was my childhood dream to do something, but now today I have achieved, right? So never wait for that age to come. Life isn't promised at all. Whatever you want to do it now only. But in the case of a householder, 80% of his life he must dedicate in taking care of his family. That doesn't mean that, okay, I'll just leave my children and all my duties aside. No, I want to learn something, so I'm leaving all my other duties and going to do. No. Time management is very, very important. Mainly, you dedicate time for doing the services, duties that you have to do at home. The remaining time you dedicate for maybe your own dreams and activities that are there in which you have interest. That has been mentioned by Vishnu in Kurma Purana years and years back. Third stage is Vanaprastha. Slowly we start retiring. In those times, kings used to go to the forest, leave all their responsibilities on their son and go. Today's times, if you have to relate, slowly retiring. That doesn't mean that fully giving up. Someone says retiring, so I'll retire from everything, I'll not have any attachment, nothing with my son, family members and so on. It doesn't mean like that. Slowly giving up on things. Like for example, if a son, now my son is there, grandson is there, still I'm only thinking about my grandson, I'm worrying about my grandson, great grandson, who will take care of all the expenses, who will take care of my property, who will take care of all the things that I've left behind. Leave some responsibilities on your son also. So dividing work, that is there. Slowly a few responsibilities go away from your head, slowly retiring from life, dividing responsibilities properly. That is the Vanaprastha. Finally, Sannyasa. Now in those times, through the methods of Ashtanga Yoga, people used to attain Samadhi. Today's times, death is not in our hands. So whenever death comes, till death comes, leading a very happy life, slowly understanding what is true reality, leaving behind responsibilities and things which are not of much importance, studying and knowing only what is right. That is the end of Sannyasa. So Kurma Purana starts with the description of the 4 Varanas of the society that are there. Further, story of creation also Vishnu starts in. We have already seen this in the Vishnu Purana. Further, Varaha Avatara story starts. We will look at Varaha Avatara a bit in detail next time, because we have not seen Varaha Avatara in detail at all in any of the 3 Puranas that we study. Today time is up. We will stop here. In the next session we will continue.